Oh, Susie Jones, I have a very special weather guest here. We'll hear from her in seconds once I get done blabbing about the weather here. 65 degrees. What a beautiful day here in WCCO land. You know, Susie, I was thinking this would be a good night to go to the Old Log Theater and have an evening for Emma, don't you think?
I think that'd be marvelous.
I think it'd be just a wonderful day. And leading up to that, high of 72 to 75, almost as warm and wonderful as Emma is. Oh, now she's turning red. We'll see a southeast wind today at around 5 to 10 tonight. Beautiful evening. Overnight low should be about 50. And then tomorrow, windy, maybe a little warmer, mid to upper 70s. Just a slight chance of some rain tomorrow afternoon. And then $1 million weekend. Highs around 70 degrees. And so far, I am not seeing much of a chance of rain for either Saturday or Sunday. But stay tuned. All right. Here she is, Emma Geiger, the star of the show tonight. Emma Geiger, what do you have?
Well, in front of the Old Log Theater right now, it's sunny and 68.
I heard you're going to be at the Old Log Theater tonight. Something going on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little something.
Yeah, just a little something going on.
This whole evening, for this girl, Emma,
Yeah. Boy, I've heard this Emma's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like to think so.
I think so, too. We'll have to meet her. All right. Very good, Emma Geiger. In the Twin Cities, the air is calm. It's 65 degrees.
It is 11:44, 65 degrees outside Mondale and Jones. A beautiful day and a beautiful evening as we all get set tonight to gather together at the Old Log Theater. Tonight's event, An Evening for Emma, is sold out, but you can still make a donation. We'll tell you about that coming up shortly here. But in the meantime, we'd like to introduce you to Emma Geiger. She is 15 years old. She is the daughter of WCCO Radio producer Dan Geiger, and she has gone through, along with her family, really just an incredible ordeal. I'm just learning about it now while we were in the commercial break. All started 3 years ago. It was April 2005. Emma, first of all, thanks for coming on. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
If at any time your parents, either parent, would like to jump in to elaborate on part of the story, feel free, Mom and Dad.
Okay.
But Emma,
Val,
yeah,
just push the red button.
yeah.
Okay.
But
Right there. Okay.
let's start at the beginning. So you started to get sick. Tell us what happened.
My birthday is April 1st. So, we went out and we were eating pizza and, I was with my friends and stuff. And the next day I started feeling kind of funny. I got sick. I was, throwing up and stuff. And I just figured, it was too much junk food and, I got really partied out. But then, so I missed school that day, Monday, and for the rest of the week, and I went to the doctors. They said, oh, it's probably just the flu, just drink lots of liquids and stuff. But pretty soon a whole quarter went by and of school, and I was still throwing up. I was just every day. I mean, I would call my dad up and be like, hey, Dad, I only threw up 7 times today. And
So,
that was an accomplishment.
Were you throwing up after eating food, or just throwing up?
Usually after food, but sometimes I would just wake up from sleep and just have to throw up.
Oh, terrible. So your mom and dad eventually say, we've got to go to a different doctor, different specialist to try to figure out what this is?
Yeah, they took me to a gastroenterologist, and they were looking at my, stomach and stuff, and just trying to figure out what's going on, because usually people don't throw up that much, and yeah.
What did they find?
They didn't really find a whole lot. At least I can't remember, but
A lot of head scratching going on.
Is that right?
And that really made Emma feel pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, she started to feel like a freak show.
Did they not believe her?
Well, what they believed, they thought that maybe. Well, at first I remember my just regular doctor said, are you comfortable with your weight? And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, and so I didn't want them to think that I was, doing this on purpose. And eventually, it just kept going on. And, I mean, people started to not believe me. So it was kind of difficult. And with all the tests, I mean, everything seemed fine from the beginning, at the beginning.
So you go to the Mayo Clinic ultimately and get tested there, right?
Yes.
And Children's Hospital.
And Children's. Okay.
We thought she had appendicitis.
Oh yeah, back in June 2006 or 5 or something. So I got my appendix out and
Oh.
Yeah, that's part of it.
yeah.
Well, she's had,
Her appendix was
we've
fine.
had so many trips to the hospital. She would get sick to the point where we couldn't keep her hydrated enough with fluids because she was constantly getting sick, and even water then she was getting sick if she drank. So
Yeah.
so she would go into these like spasm things with her hands all shaking, and it was so scary.
Yeah.
We'd have her to the ER, they'd hook her up to an IV. Mm-hmm. She's gotten quite proficient at IVs. I think she could probably hook it up herself now.
Yeah, well, I remember one night, or one morning, actually, I was just puking and just throwing up all over, and it was really awful, and my mom was home with me, and she called my dad, and he brought me, he picked me up because it was my day with him, and he picked me up, and we decided we were going to go to the hospital because I just couldn't keep anything down. My hands were cramping. I was so dehydrated I couldn't move.
We had just been to the Mayo Clinic that week, so my plan was to take her back there to Rochester.
Yeah, and but we just decided we better go to Children's Hospital since it was closer. And we got in. I passed out in the ER lobby room, waiting room, and they brought me in a wheelchair to the ER,
Yep.
to my room, and they hooked me up to an IV as fast as they could, and the doctor came in and he said if you would have went to the Mayo Clinic, you wouldn't have made it.
You were that close.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you lose 20 pounds in,
That's the first
2
time
days, or was that 10 pounds in 2
That's the
days?
first time I really, when you're in the middle of something like this, it's like, it's your daughter, and, it's Emma, da-da-da, nothing's wrong here.
Yeah.
We'll get this fixed, blah, blah, blah. And that when the doctor said you wouldn't have made it to Rochester, that was the first time that it hit me like a ton of bricks, like, oh, man, this
is serious.
we're very
up.
lucky,
Yeah. Yeah. So where are you today? Because it's I guess, how would you describe where you've come? So, I mean, obviously, so many hospital visits, and that's why we're having the thing tonight, because it's beyond anyone's comprehension how much this all costs, and to have a family have to deal with it. But your health today, tell our listeners how you're doing.
Ever since in January, I got the feeding tube placed so they could bypass my stomach and stuff so it could heal up. I have a feeding tube right now, and it's going okay. It's a little difficult, but I'm trying to get used to it and stuff. So I've been doing better, and it's nice not to have to worry about what I eat because I can just hook the tube up and stuff. So.
And is that difficult do you feed yourself in the feeding tube?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I've never even heard of how that works.
It's like
liquid?
Excuse me.
It's a formula, just like baby formula.
Okay,
right.
so it's,
you mix it up and then put it in a little bag, and there's a pump that she carries around in a backpack.
and it's nutrition. It's heavy, heavy
it's
duty.
really nutritious and stuff. It's called
None of us have
Elacare.
tasted it by mouth, though. So
No, but it smells just enough to not make you want to do that.
yeah.
But you can sense that when you put it in, you're satisfied and you feel like.
I can't feel it going in, but I'm not hungry, so I assume it's working.
And she's hydrated. So
Yes.
we haven't
Which is-
had an ER trip like that for a while.
And you haven't thrown up?
No, not. I've thrown up maybe twice since I've had it. So twice in the last 5
January.
months. So
That's great. So you're hopeful. I know it's sort of like a tough thing to have to deal with, but at least you're not throwing up anymore.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in, both of you, all of you, Dan, Val, Emma. It's been a lovely visit, and we want to remind people tonight the event is sold out, and there's 600 people coming to the Old Log tonight, which has got to be pretty overwhelming to see that kind of generosity. And you can go to WCCORadio.com and click on the Evening for Emma if you'd like to make a donation. Unfortunately, you can't come tonight, but it is tax deductible.
And
Thank you.
Emma's quite a writer, and if you go on the WCCO website, there's a link to her Caring Bridge site.
Okay.
And she journals everything on there, and it's pretty fun to read. So.
Good. All right. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Emma.
Nice to meet you, too.
Thank you, Val, Dan.
Thank you.
And we'll be back with Mondale and Jones, our link of the day, and check in with Jack right after this.
Trusted information for the Twin Cities and the Upper Midwest. This is 830 WCCO, Minneapolis, St. Paul.